Welcome to the REI Hacker Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of real estate success. Join us as we dive into the journeys of top investors, mentors, and industry experts. And now, let's hand it off to our host, Benson Juarez.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on this edition of the REI Hacker Podcast. My next guest is a longtime friend. His name is Ricardo Rosales. He's a longtime entrepreneur and has built multiple businesses in multiple different industries. A veteran of the U.S. Navy, he's leveraged his experiences to grow a multi-million-dollar real estate empire and multinational virtual assistant and marketing companies. Ricardo, what is up, sir? Thank you so much for taking the time and being here. I know you got a big trip planned and you got some logistics to handle. Thanks for taking the time.
I appreciate you, Benson. Thank you so much for having me on your space now. You've come to my podcast. Now I'm coming to yours. I love the name, by the way.
Thank you.
I do like the name of the podcast. I think it's pretty unique. It's pretty cool. So here I am, brother. Fire it away.
We've known each other for many years. We met each other through the family reunion, a really cool networking group for real estate entrepreneurs, all different sectors and such. And I've got to work with you on a professional level, which has been really cool. And it was through your virtual staffing company.
Correct.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense that you would start that, right? Because you're a multinational type person, right? So you were born in the US.
You want to know the story on how that company started?
I do. So you were born in the U.S., but you spent a lot of your life in Venezuela.
That's right.
And moving around. And so you got to experience these different cultures and these different economies. And it makes perfect sense that a VA business would happen for you.
Let me tell you how it started. So somewhere around 2020, I was doing nationwide wholesaling at a large scale. So it was not uncommon for us to have 60 contracts on the board. Okay. 20 plus closings a month, pipeline was full all the time. And for the first time ever in my real estate life, I had such a big pipeline to close on, which was about $1.7 million in assignments. Now, we've made money in the past on wholesaling, on fix and flipping, but I never made like 7 figures in 1 month or maybe in a quarter in assignments. That was like, wow, this is crazy, right? So I got all excited. I came to my office in Houston. I live in the Houston area right now. Half time here, half time in Venezuela with my people there, with my call center. I came to my office and I said, guys, we have this beautiful opportunity to go collect all this money. I think if we pull it, I'm going to give you an extra $300,000 in bonuses so you can share as a team. Because I wanted to see it through, right? So I gave them enough for them to get excited. And they all got excited. It was like, oh, yeah, let's go. Yeah, boom, boom. 30 days later, man, we haven't even assigned maybe not even 10%. And now I'm like troubled. I'm like, what's going on? These guys, they don't want to make the money, or is it that they're not excited enough? Are my deals not good deals? Like, you start questioning the whole process, right? And next thing you know, the first thing I do is I go and analyze all my deals to make sure that there are deals. And yes, I could get some of the ones that were like bullshit deals, I will call them like that, if you excuse my language. I put those off to the side, but they were not the majority of it. When I started looking at it and I started assigning deals on my own and I saw that they were not doing it, I showed up to my office one morning, Benson, and I said, these guys are not, they're not motivated enough. I'm just going to go ahead and clean the house. And I literally fired everybody that day. Now, I still had the deals on the board, and I only left 2 people. I left Caesar and Shane at the time. Both of them are great friends of mine today. And Caesar and I still do deals together. So I went back and I started analyzing my process, and I was trying to figure out where my holes were, right? And I operate off something called the Vision Traction Organizer. The Vision Traction Organizer is a tool from the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. I know this tool from the back and forth. It's basically reverse engineering, and that's what I did. I reverse engineered my whole operation, and I started looking at my flow, and I said, okay, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. But the people portion of it is where I was failing. And when I went and saw, okay, where are my good people at? It was my VAs. At the time, I only had 2 VAs, Carla and Carlos. So luckily enough, they were brothers and sisters. So I reached out to Carlos and I said, hey, man, I'm restructuring everything the way I do here. And I think I want to give you more to do, like more work, more power. And he's like, I'm ready, man. I've been ready for years. Like he's been working for me now for quite a few years. And I was like, well, this is the first task is I want you to go find 5 people with good English that are willing to learn, and I'm gonna show them how to sell properties. My first task was dispo because I had a pipeline already full, right? And he's like, no problem. So within a week, he got these 5 people, and man, we started selling deals like clockwork because they did what I told them to do, and they didn't question it. And before we knew it, Benson, we had 100 people on our team. 100.
Wow.
We were doing all kinds of deals, buying, selling. We were doing acquisitions, dispositions, transactional coordinating, all from overseas, okay? Which was mind-blowing too. Like, I'm like, I don't even have to have him here. That's even better for me because I don't have to babysit him. I have someone else just doing that now. But then I started coaching people on wholesaling at a large scale. And the one common thing is when we were done, they were like, okay, can I get one of your VAs? Because obviously that's part of your success. And I was like, no, those are my VAs. Like I train them, they're for me, they're on my payroll. And they're like, well, yeah, but how about you charge me something for it? And I was like, okay. So we started kind of like quarterbacking people to my students. And like maybe a year later, somewhere in 2023, I went and I looked at it and I was tired of wholesaling. Number one, the market was shifting too. There were multiple things happening. And I said, well, I got all these VAs. Why I just don't go ahead and outsource them to other people? I may not make as much money as I am wholesaling, but it's very predictable revenue. I know exactly how much money I'm making each month. I don't have to hustle closing on deals to pay for my VAs. And before I knew it, Benson, I had a VA company and I had no idea. It kind of like fell on my lap. And today is pretty much one of our main businesses that we're growing, aside from the event space. So, and also I still do real estate. Don't get me wrong. Once you do real estate once, I think you'll do it for the rest of your life. I don't think anybody's getting away from that because a deal maker is a deal maker at the end of the day. But I'm not doing the amount of deals I was at some point. I'm not chasing doing 40, 50, 60 deals anymore. I'm building something that in my opinion is more stable, more long run, and something that gives me a lot of freedom as well. Because now I delegate everything to my team and I can pick and choose the things that I do with my time. And I'm not necessarily chasing a seller or a buyer, right? So
Yeah.
that's how that started.
So amazing story. And that's how a lot of entrepreneurial things start, is like it's done out of necessity.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're in something completely new. But let me ask you, what was the problem with the people? If you could go back and hire those people right the first time, what would you have changed?
I just don't think that was a hiring issue because when most people are coming into a new job, they're excited. So they start putting in the work. But when they realize this business is harder than what it looks or what you and I make it look like, they start hitting roadblocks and walls that they don't necessarily want to go through. So they lose their motivation.
You think it was a cultural issue?
I think it's just the type of people that come to work with you. Like even the guys that have the biggest operations, okay, out there that I know that I've been to their offices. Some of them are my friends. Some of them have coached me actually multiple ways on how to grow my real estate business to the way it was. They have the same problem. It's an open revolving door that never ends because eventually that one acquisitions manager, dispositions manager, they want to go do their own thing. And so the good ones end up leaving. The bad ones, those are the ones that want to stick around. And then when you realize that you get a bunch of people that might have been good, but then turn into bad, and then you have to clean the office out. I'm okay doing that overseas where it costs me a fraction of what it costs me here.
Right.
But over there, this is the difference, Benson. So here, you give an employee a $500 bonus. They look at you like, that's it. In South America, I give one of the employees a $500 bonus, and they're throwing a party with it.
Oh, yeah. That's life-changing money for a lot of people.
It's life-changing money for a lot of them, right? So I think I discovered that operating overseas was much better for me. And cultural-wise, it was easier for me to build a culture that was resilient. As opposed to like here, they give up too easy. We have an entitlement, man. These new generations now, they all feel like entitled.
Yeah.
But they're also very fragile. And I was running into a lot of that. And at some point, you just get tired. You question things. You're like, man, do I want to continue hiring people locally or do I just go overseas? And most of the successful guys that are doing real estate today, a big portion of their team is overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was such a large portion, because people have like this misconception about what a VA can do. They think it's mostly just like systems, systematize things,
My guys
checklists.
can buy and sell properties from my office in South America.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's part of the misconception, right? Is they don't think that they can do the sales process, think outside the box, think on their feet, problem solve, right? Those are a lot of the things that go into the sales process, because you're having real-time conversations with people, and you got to be able to pivot and maneuver and figure out, extract what the problem is to be able to solve it. And that, for a lot of people, that doesn't fit into the VA box.
Right.
So obviously, we're able to prove otherwise.
Yeah, I was arguing with a guy on Facebook, not like this week or Sunday, about VAs. And he's like, my AI bots are better than any VAs. And all I did was I popped in and I said, look, man, I love AI because it helps you so much, all the different tools. But I still have my VAs manage my AI. Like, I need that human interaction. He's like, well, those are not VAs, or you're not getting a good use of your VAs. And I said, look, brother, I just raised, for my last event, over $150,000 on sponsorships. And guess who did it? My VAs did. And he goes, well, you don't have VAs, you have a sales floor. And I said, exactly. But to me, they're VAs, they're virtual assistants. They're somewhere else. I just tell them what to do. They go do it. And if whether it's sales or marketing or acquisition or video editing, they're professionals at it.
It's tomato, or he was just calling it something different.
Okay, now we call it that.
So there's a stigma around the term VA, right? And as things evolve, like people change the terminology. I just had a guest on here a couple of days ago who was, we were talking about the lending industry, the private money lending industry. And he slipped up a couple of times and said hard money. And he's like, oh no, I mean, private lending. And it's like, at some point in the growth of an industry, it begins to rebrand. And about a few years ago, that's what happened with the hard money industry. They figured out that hard money had a stigma, so they started saying private lending. It's the same business. Nothing changed, right? So what's happening with the virtual assistant industry? Is that happening? Is there a rebranding of it?
Yes, I actually thought about rebranding my company to, as opposed to VA, to EA, executive assistants. And plus, I am focusing more on the executive assistants today than I am on the cold callers and the lead managers. So I changed my clientele a little bit. Wholesalers were very unstable. So they come in, they use a cold caller for 3 months. They don't get a deal out of it, and then they drop, right? And they blame the VA. Maybe it's your list. Maybe it's you can't close. There's multiple reasons on why a deal doesn't close. But what I realized is that most of the people that are using our executive assistants, they're in it for the long haul.
Can I make a suggestion here? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Is it the term, the key word that it's dropping off at is the first one. I think virtual is the value prop. I think that's where it becomes valuable. It's the second part. It's the assistant.
Yes.
People don't put value in assistant. So maybe it's virtual workforce or virtual sales team, right?
We're actually in the process of thinking that through, because we've looked at companies that, like, some of my friends own, and their branding has nothing to do with virtual assistants, but they're virtual assistants at the end of the day. But yeah, I would love that suggestion, right? Because that makes me look at things from a different perspective. And it's kind of like a team effort that we're doing that. Like, I'm not sure that I really want to rebrand it, but if I do, it will change the last two words, VA. It will be something else.
Yeah. Because really all you're doing is you're just hiring people that you would hire here to do some work, right? Either it's sales or it's administrative or it's
work that I was doing here.
Logistics. But they live someplace else and you don't pay them as much.
So I'll give you an example.
Difference.
I'll give you an example. My video producer editor, when he was here in the US, he was doing the same thing that my video producer editors are doing in Venezuela. But this guy cost me $4,000 a month. Over there is $1,400. So why have him here?
Right. And they're not your assistant.
They're your editor. He's my editor. He can be anywhere.
Yeah.
Of course, he lives in the U.S., so the cost of living here is a lot more expensive. I was running with a guy on a camera running around with me, Benson, way before anybody ever did that. This is in 2015, 2016.
Right.
And that's what I was paying a month for a video guy, right? Now, if I need a video guy, I just hire the guy for the day, and I produce the content, then I handed it off to my team, and that's it, done. And it cost me a fraction of the amount of dollars that was costing me here. We're also getting a lot of good people that are degreed, right? They have degrees in business. They got degrees in graphic design. things of that nature. They're professionals, like you mentioned earlier when we started the podcast, is that you dealt with me at a professional level, and one thing you realize is like, man, these guys are actually professionals in doing what they're doing, right? And it's because we put emphasis into that, right? Like, hey, if I want to earn your business, it's not going to be just on price. And by the way, I'm cheaper than most people are. I am. Am I the cheapest one? No. There are cheaper versions out there, right? But I want to earn it based on we're doing a good job. We're professionals. We're handling our stuff on time. There's clear communications back and forth. Have we failed at some of those things? Of course. We're humans. So nobody's perfect. But we do the best effort we can to get good quality people that will serve our clients, and as well as me, because I'm the first client. I'm client number one. They have to work for me before they go to work for anybody else. If they cannot do a good job for me, I'm not going to offer them to you.
So there is this stigma, right? And the stigma doesn't come because everything always works. It becomes because it doesn't work sometimes, right? So in those times when it doesn't work, what do you think is failing? Like, where is the process failing when people are hiring virtual assistants? Is it can be multiple things, right? There's like the person doesn't have the tasks like fully laid out, right?
Yes.
We're not communicating properly.
There's three. I can tell you three from my experience.
All right.
Number one, they have never managed anybody, and now they want to manage a virtual assistant. They don't even know how to manage them. Okay. They don't have the tasks. They don't give them a clear path. They don't share the vision of what they need done or the company. They don't also make them part of their culture. Like how can I get somebody to buy into what our culture looks like, right? That's one. The other one is when they manage them directly, they expect like this robot. Like it's like owning almost, I hate to even say the word, but it's like having a slave. And that's not the case. That's another human being. So they don't know how to manage people that way. And the other one is when they hire through an agency. I have an agency. So when they hire through an agency, you pay more than if you hire the VA directly. But the agencies are better equipped to supervise and to make sure that the job is getting done. That's what you're getting with an agency. So if you go directly to the VA, what happens when the VA gets sick? That's it. They're sick. They're gone. They can't work. Or what happens when the VA goes on vacations? There's no replacement for that VA. Well, most likely with an agency, that doesn't happen. If one of my guys gets sick and they're doing a job for you, I make sure somebody else finishes that job because I have people on staff for that. If somebody is going on vacations, I'm making sure another editor is picking up your work while they're on vacation so they can have a proper vacation, right? You pay what you get for. You get what you pay for. So if you want to have a nice car that takes you from point A to point B with leather seats and a nice stereo system, you can get that through an agency. Or you can go get a car directly from who knows where that's got who knows what problems. That's another thing. So a lot of VAs got a lot of bad behaviors. So, for instance, not to knock anybody down in the Philippines, I think they're great people. They're amazing. Their English is perfect, and they have the right attitude when it comes to work. But a lot of the problems that I've seen from VAs from the Philippines is they not only have one client, they got 3 clients. They don't say that, but they do. And then they're also working a complete different shift. It's nighttime over there when here is for us is daytime. So most likely they have another job during the day that they're going to so they can make ends meet. Are they cheaper? Yes. Are you getting the value out of it? Maybe. So I'm not going to say that all of them are like that because that's not really the case. There's great people out there that you can hire directly and they're ethical and they will put out the work. But you eliminate a lot of that by going through an agency. So that's why they both exist. You got the agency model and then you got the hired directly model. A lot of people, what happens is they hire directly and eventually they're like, oh man, I don't want to manage people anymore. I'd rather just deal with an agency that takes care of that. I put in the work, they put out the work and I'm good. So I think that's what created the stigma on the negative thing about the VAs is because for the most part, when we first started in the real estate business or in the world, actually, most VAs were coming from the Philippines and they had all those bad behaviors that they developed throughout the years. And then next thing you know is, oh, a VA can't do it. A VA can do that. I get mad every time somebody tells me that my VAs in Venezuela are not going to do something because they're not from the U.S. Well, guess where I'm from? I'm from Venezuela, right? And I consider myself a VA. Why not? I mean, my English is not perfect. I have an accent. And I can prove to people that I bought more properties with my broken accent than some of the people that got the most beautiful English there is in the world. So it's all about training and how you get these, like my acquisitions guys. I tell them, I said, look, say that you are a Venezuelan real estate investor. That eliminates the elephant from the room right away, right? It eliminates it. Oh, this guy's got accent. Of course I got accent. I'm from Venezuela. Now, does it matter where my money's coming from?
No, it doesn't. I think the biggest thing that I noticed was the processes, right? So like you mentioned, most people, when they fail like early on, it's because they don't know how to manage people. Well, they don't know how to manage people. It sure as hell don't know how to hire people, right? Because that's the first step in the process. You got to hire before you can manage. And so they're not hiring the right people. And that's what I liked about your process, is that there was a process of building standard operating procedures, right? And once I had my SOPs built out with your team and we built out a full task list of everything that had to be done, then they could go and try to find the right people to hire based off of what my needs were.
That's right.
And that process typically isn't done with people who are hiring direct because they just don't know the right way to do it. They're not building out the job description properly based off of the tasks that need to be completed. And so they're sticking people in there like round peg into a square hole. Like, oh, here's a person who can do it, right? Like, no, it's like there's a very lengthy process to make sure you're getting the right fit.
So my two main supervisors in top of the line VA, they're both engineers. So they're both electrical engineer, computer engineer, science engineer. What do engineers live and swear by?
Systems.
SOPs. So when something doesn't fit in a box, they're like, what happened here? How come we missed this? Like, my God, Gustavo and Carlos, they get furious when things don't happen like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like they don't, if somebody skips a step, they're like, what happened here? Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we got to be flexible as well, right? But that is the difference with an agency than with hiring somebody directly. Now, if you are really good at training and delegating and supervising, by all means, go hire people directly. This is going to be a lot cheaper. Maybe 30% less, okay? But that in a way, if you're hiring a team to work with you and to solve your problems, you should just give problems out. Now, you can train them on certain aspects. Now, let's say, I don't know, I'm your VA and you have me finding properties on Privy. Like, Ricardo, I want you to find properties in Privy in the state of Georgia, I don't know, Alabama and Mississippi. And I don't know how to use Privy. At least I want to know some training and what's your buy box. Benson, what's the buy box? Like, I can find you properties, but tell me what your buy box is. Okay, Ricardo, I want you to find 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2-car garage, ARV no more than 250,000, houses built no older than 1989. And you start giving me the whole bingo. Now I have a buy box that I can go use to find properties and say, hey, Mr. Benson, these are all the deals I found for you. Which ones do we reach out to, or do we reach out to all of them? And then you negotiate at the end, right? So there's still training that needs to take place in between the client and the VA per se, the executive assistant. But once they get to know each other and they have an SOP built, then it just flows.
Oh, yeah. And then you can go back and tweak it too, because you're going to learn where there's holes in the process as you're doing it. And you can't always see those blind spots when you first start off. Like, you do your best to build a good SOP from the beginning. Then when you execute the SOP, you're like, oh, we forgot to put this.
I didn't think about this. Yeah.
Right. So let's add that in. And then you can tweak and be nimble. And then you perfect the process over time. And then that's what's good too, is like that SOP, once it's developed, you can hand it off. You can hand it off to somebody.
And you can replicate it. If you, like one SOP we have, for instance, when we hire somebody brand new off the streets, they don't know nothing about real estate. Guess what they do the first 2 weeks? They just watch videos on acquisitions, dispositions, software, how to pull properties, how to pull comps, what's an ARV, what's 70% minus repairs. They spend 2 weeks going through all of that, all those trainings. So when they come to a client, they already know a lot of the lingo, a lot of the acronyms. They understand numbers and values, right? And the other good thing is we got a bunch of other people in the office to where if they have a question, all they got to do is look up to the side and say, hey, Carlos, I don't know how to calculate this ARV, but can you teach me how? And then in 2 minutes, the other VA will teach my other VA how to do it, because we're all in office. We rarely have anybody away from the office. So that knowledge roaming around the office is getting transferred from assistant to assistant, right? So That's what I like doing in person, in office in South America. There are other people that want to do the whole virtual thing, but I think when you do virtual 100%, it can be lonely because you're putting all your hours in front of a computer. You don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody to joke or whatever. Some people have been able to build cultures like that online.
Yeah.
But
Why do you
it's
think I
not
have a
that simple.
podcast, Ricardo?
Yeah, I mean,
Right? Is this so I can have these interactions? I am behind a computer,
not only
10,
that,
12 hours
Benson,
a
before
day.
the podcast, we were talking for at least 20 minutes on stuff. We were just catching up because we hadn't seen each other in a while, right? I'm the same way. Every time I want to see one of my friends, hey, let's throw a podcast. And then we talked for a little bit, things that we may not want to be airing out, right? And then we get into the whole conversation on the podcast. So,
The world's changing so fast, isn't it? It's crazy how things are developing, right? Because we're talking about, like, we're having a podcast to catch up with friends, and people don't go out and go to bars as much anymore, and they're stuck on their TVs binging Netflix and on their phones watching social media. Like, technology is changing everything quickly, right? And the next big thing that we are shifting toward is AI, right? Now, people are talking about these artificial assistants, right? That this is going to be one of the things that are coming soon. So how are you preparing personally, business-wise, and your staff for how AI is moving in? Because there's ways of supporting things, right? Like editing, right? There's like Opus AI, and there's like these editors that...
At the end of the day, you still need an editor behind it, man. It's in our lifetime, Benson, we're not going to replace a human. You and I will get to 80 or 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We'll need a human interacting. Maybe we don't need 20 humans in an office. We might need 3 or 4 that run a bunch of different tools. But you still need that human eye.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's in my opinion, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Skynet is a thing, from Terminator. Like, okay, whatever. But I don't think in our lifetime that's the case. So, like my argument with this other guy that he was telling me about these AI bots on how they were better than my VA, sounds like, bro, your AI bot is not going to raise $150,000 in sponsorships for my next real estate event. I'm sorry. It's just that their AI bot doesn't understand how to sell and how to sell my event to people. Like, it's an experience what we have going on with my real estate events. So how do I replace one of my salespeople for one of those AI bots? I can't.
No, but you can make them more efficient.
Yes. So my assistant can be way more efficient if she streamlines the process with her prospects for the events to maybe pre-qualify them or have initial conversations or understand what they want to sell at the event or whatnot. And then all she has to do is a quick Zoom call to figure it out. Okay, do you want to come in at 5K, 10K, 20K, 40K, whatever the price tag is, right? And they're like, well, I think I can do X. All right, perfect. Boom, here's the invoice. Let's get you in. Now, throw in real estate events. How many AI bots are they going to send to my audience so they can learn our teachings and the stuff that we talk about? We're far from that. Like, I think I'll believe a human is replaceable 100% because we're being replaced, by the way. It's not, I mean, you go to McDonald's nowadays, there are McDonald's that are fully automated. Gas stations that, you remember when the guy used to put gas on your car? Like,
yeah,
that's not the case anymore. Like, you just swipe the credit card, you're doing it all in by yourself, right? You got to go there, put the gas in, gas out, boom, done. I think the human interaction will still be around until you and I are 80 or 90 years old, if we get to live that long. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in another generation because this is growing way too fast, too quick. Will it replace everybody? No. So what we're doing, Benson, to answer your question, is we're learning all the different tools on how we can be a more effective video producer or video editor or an executive assistant or a cold caller or a lead manager. Can we marry two together? So that's what we're working on. So we're learning the different AIs that are out there to be more effective with our clients. It's no secret. A lot of the editing that we do is through Premiere and Opus and things of that nature, right? But we still got to go and watch the video before we upload it.
Yeah, you gotta make sure it's correct.
What if the software didn't catch it?
Yeah, you do.
And we're uploading the wrong thing, right? And that happened once. Jose, you know Jose, he put in a wrong video, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? Man, I'm sorry, it slipped out. And I was like, no, that's a big no-no, man. That video should have never made it to where it made it. Why? He got complacent and he let out a video that he wasn't supposed to let out because he didn't watch the end product.
Right.
And the AI screwed it up. It wasn't even him that screwed up. It was the AI that screwed it up. And I was like, no, bro, you got to watch every video here. So that's quality control, quality assurance, right?
Yeah, there's this interesting time we're in right now, I've noticed, where especially creators, right? People who create things, artists, editors, whether you're developing a piece of art, where they still want people to believe that they're doing it all. And they don't want to admit that they're using AI. So they try to do it all like kind of behind the scenes, right? And they're using the tools to make it more effective and more efficient. But they're like, well, no, our team handles it. And, they're not out there saying we use AI. There's still like this weird transition period that I'm not sure if you've noticed it.
Well, because they don't want to be replaced by a tool.
Right.
But I'm okay disclosing that we use all these tools because I'm like, all right, you guys are going to be faster and quicker than most of the other people, right? Where our value add is, where's our value add? Is that we get to watch every video. Like, I cannot just rely on the AI cutting and chopping. I got to watch the content because what if I upload something that was a private conversation that we just had during the podcast? And because I relied on the AI, I didn't pay attention that Ricardo and Benson had a private conversation during this podcast, and that private conversation should be edited out. It should not go on YouTube or anywhere else, right? So that's where, all right, but to your point, transparency is really what it comes down to.
I would use it as a selling point. You're like, we're able to do this, a little bit cheaper because we leverage AI.
Of course.
And so that makes us more competitive, right? So there's a leverage point there in saying that you use AI where we can be more effective, more efficient, and more cost effective.
I agree. We still use some of the old legacy editing platforms like Premiere, right? Like that's the main one we use, to be honest with you. Why? Because in Premiere, we hear all the the background noise that sometimes you can just edit it away, right? This is all about video editing because it's what we use AI the most, is for the video editing. So my guys will go in there and use Premiere for that, but they still use the other stuff to chop up reels and shorts. What if I chop off the wrong thing and I didn't listen to it and I put it up on YouTube now? It goes viral because who knows what I'm saying there. And it's probably not the right thing I wanted to show. So you're right. It's transparency. We're very transparent in what we use. And sometimes even our clients say, hey, man, have you tried this tool or this platform? And if we haven't, we're like, no. Do you have access to it? Can you give us access to see how it works? And if that's something that we want to adapt, by all means, we will.
Yeah. And I think it's an ego hit, too, for a lot of people, especially the creators, right? The ones that are, putting their creativeness behind it. They're using that side of the brain that a lot of people don't have to create something unique.
Right.
And they're like, oh, like I'm not as useful as I was before. I've seen some of the art that has come out where you just type in a prompt and you like create this piece of art and you're like, my God, it's amazing. The things that these computers can come up with and how quickly. I saw one that as you type, it's creating it as you're typing.
Crazy.
It's an insane what is coming down the pipe.
Yeah, that technology is evolving way too fast. I don't know that we as humans are ready for it 100%. I think if we don't watch it, it will become a Skynet type thing. Like eventually it will dictate how we live our lives. It will keep us away from doing the stuff that makes us valuable. So in a way, it's a little scary, but I don't think we're going to live that in our lifetime. Like I said, that's probably going to be my children or maybe my grandkids, right? That's the world they're going to live in, not us. You and I, we already are halfway through. So
I'm hearing some people who pay attention to this very closely because there's the stages. There's artificial intelligence, there's artificial general intelligence, and then there's artificial super intelligence. So like these stages that they've kind of laid out, and some people think we'll have AGI within the next 3 to 4 years, which means it's smarter than a human being. And that to me is a little terrifying. But I believe that we're going to be best positioned as business owners who are okay with this pivoting, and we're already leveraging the tools. We're going to be the ones that are going to be in the best position. It's the average American right now who isn't in the space, who aren't entrepreneurs, who are just doing their jobs, the ones that are going to be affected the most.
Yeah, the blue collar, right? Like they're now. I don't think you're going to replace a plumber.
The tradesmen are going to last for a long time.
Tradesmen are going to last. Electricians, plumbers, foundation repairs, maybe a roofer, things like that, right? You need that physical interaction. Now, if they have robots that can do stuff like that and troubleshoot, then we're in troubles because now those guys are getting phased out, right?
Oh yeah, There's robots that can roof an entire house.
Look, there are robots that can actually clean the house, and they can be your girlfriend or boyfriend. That's scary. That's very scary, Benson, because think about it. Now you're replacing the ultimate component for life, which is two human beings, a man and a woman, to procreate, right?
Yeah, companionship.
Companionship. Like, so they're buying that companionship through a robot that will basically say whatever they want them to do or do. And that's very scary. Like, I was like, I don't know. That's weird, but it's legit. It's like, it's coming.
Yeah, I have a friend who's in the AI business on the pornography side of the business. I don't remember which country it was, but he created some AI for the centerfold in Playboy.
Okay.
It was the first ever AI centerfold, and his team created it.
Wow.
And they've taken that and extracted it into video. And now a lot of their clients can take this AI model and interact with it and create their own version of it that will talk to them the way they want to be talked to. And
so a person that buys that package, do they really want to go out and mingle with other women or men? They probably not, because this one package is going to be sufficient for them to be fulfilled, right? Are they going to have children? The answer is no. So this is where that's headed, right? It's like, hey, man, I know AI was doing these great things for our humanity today, but man, I think they need to slow it down a little bit and dumb it down too. That way it doesn't replace the human 100%. I remember when I used to watch Terminator and I was like, oh my God, that's science fiction. I don't think that's science fiction anymore, man. I think it's a real thing.
Well, as much as like we want to use it for business and good, and we see that there's limits to it, right? There's always people pushing the limits. There are people that want to replace a person 100%, right? Because it's the way to make money. If you can get a person out of the loop, you don't have to pay them, and then you can have robots doing all the work, like you said, that McDonald's. They're way more profitable, right? So it's always driven by money, but also power.
They don't show up late.
Yeah.
They don't complain.
They don't complain.
They don't need a vacation.
Yeah.
You might put them out for service.
So there's always a reason to keep pushing the envelope. And, I think that if anyone's going to put some guardrails in place to try to control it, it's going to be the U.S., right? Because of the way our government works. But what happens when this really powerful AI killing machine gets in the hands of a communist China?
Or whatever country. Let's not name a country in specific.
Whatever,
There might be a country out there today, Benson, that is very quiet, that is good located. It's got no political problems, but they get this one maniac in power, and now he wants to change the world, and he doesn't but he wants to change the world in a bad way, and then they'll get their hands on stuff like that, and that's very scary.
It is. So as much as we want to control it, Elon Musk did a post on Twitter about a month ago saying that we were at the event horizon of AI, basically the point of no return. Like we're at a tipping point now where we've gone so close to the black hole that we can't turn around and go back. We're going to be sucked in regardless. And it's out of our control. Like there's so much momentum by it, and AI is growing so smart so quickly that we just have to go with it and figure out how we best fit into that future.
That's what we're doing with our people. I think I'm still going to have a VA company for the next 5 to 10 years. I don't think that's going to go away. And we will always find the tasks that we need to solve for other people. In a way, what we are is we're problem solvers for other people. Like, how can I do your video editing? How can I be your executive assistant? Or how can I get you more leads in? How can I cold call for you? Or how can I set up appointments for you? How can I pay your bills for you? That's the kind of stuff that we do as executive assistants, as a team, right? That's serving other people. And I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. Will maybe in the next 20 to 30 years disappear? Who knows, man? 20 years ago, we looked at AI and that was just a dream, right? And look at where we are today. Look at all the things we can do thanks to technology. Like, look, let's think about it. Privy, right? You got Privy. I want a property. All I got to do is log on Privy and learn how to underwrite them. And I can find one within minutes.
Yeah. It's amazing.
How was it available? When was Privy born?
Oh, about 10 years ago.
10 years ago. But like the evolution of Privy, right? Like from where it started to where it's at right now. right? It
Oh, yeah.
took 10 years. And you could probably add more stuff onto it that will make it more, I don't know, faster, agile, however you want to put it, in the next 2 or 3 years, because the technology is there already. So you just start adding bolt-on things to your platform, and now it's just more valuable. But if you think about it that way, it was born 10 years ago. And look, today, I go online, I go on Privy, I log on, and I said, I want to buy me a deal in Georgia. And boom, bam, within 5 minutes, I can spot 10 to 20 deals right away. That wasn't the case 10 years ago.
I know. It's changed so quickly.
Right?
And now we got our patent. We finally got our patent in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It took some
Angela,
time.
did Angela need your patent?
What's that?
Angela?
No.
No? Okay.
She does trademark and
Trademark, that's right.
Yeah, so she's not a patent attorney, but she's good at what she does.
Yes.
Copyright,
I
trademarks.
confused patent with a trademark, that's right.
Yeah. But no, we applied for it over 4 years ago, and it just takes a lot of time. But now it's like there's so many new things that we can do. So we're constantly improving and trying to get better at what we do. But it's the same with any business, right? And we're all going to have to stay nimble, incorporate artificial intelligence where we can, monitor it to see how it grows and what we can leverage it for, but not get too dependent on it. Like you said, like the way that you guys leverage AI, I think is the perfect balance where you're using it for efficiency as a tool, but not being so reliant on it that you ignore the ultimate product, which has to be reviewed by a person to make sure that you're putting out a quality result. Otherwise, whatever happened to what Carlos did, he put out something because he got too reliant on the AI and it messed up.
He got complacent.
Yep. Man, I could talk all day with you about this stuff. I mean, we started off talking about you and your business, the top of the line VAs. We're going to put that link in the show notes for everybody. So if you guys are looking for a quality service, a VA service to help you with sales, marketing, Ricardo's team really helped me develop my content creation process for my podcast and for all the reels and making sure things coming out consistently and predictably. That was extremely valuable. So if you guys need somebody who can do that for you, definitely reach out to Ricardo and his team.
I appreciate you, brother. And it's an honor to be able to serve you, Benson, anytime. You know where we are. So, the more you need from us, you just give us a call and we'll be more than happy to continue to help you solve more challenges, right? So, and help you build. That's what we like doing. I appreciate you having me on the podcast, Benson. I got to bring you back onto mine one more time because I want you to show me what's the latest and the greatest in Privy, how we can go access properties nationwide. And if you guys need anything from me, Ricardo Rosales on Instagram is Ricardo M. Rosales. Our YouTube is the same way. Now, don't get scared from my YouTube channel. It's one of those things I haven't put so much into it like I should. Like we were talking about that earlier on the podcast. And that's about to change. I'm getting ready to start doing more shorter content versions than the longer ones in order to help with the algorithm on YouTube. So, man, I appreciate you having me, brother. I love you.
My pleasure, man.
And I can't wait until we have a couple in person again.
Oh, I know. I hope it happens soon. We got to connect for sure. But really appreciate you, man. Thank you for all your help over the years and your friendship and everything you're doing over there with your companies is just top of the line, we'll say.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks so much for being here. Everybody, thanks for listening to this edition of the REI Hacker Podcast. Keep an eye out for more amazing guests like Ricardo here, where we talk about business, entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and hacking your businesses to get the best ROI. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.